What's up, ladies and gents, Ghost here, back with yet some more Battlefield 4 news. And I know guys, I just brought out a news video, but believe me, you are going to want to hear this. A patch is currently out for the PC side. I've downloaded mine already. I haven't been able to check anything out in game yet as the servers are still down, but this includes a lot of good stuff. Now it says here that this patch is in preparation for the second Assault DLC, and above all it includes something that a lot of people have been waiting for, and that is Mantle support. So the new Mantle renderer has been added in Battlefield 4. Players who meet the system requirements can expect a performance increase by adding this new low-level graphics API. This is something that was supposed to be coming out, I think, towards the end of the year, so it's taken them a little bit longer than that to do so. On top of that, they've been tweaking CPU and GPU performance and monitoring a lot. So they tweaked and improved CPU multi-core utilization, and that's to try and avoid stuttering and low frame rate due to stalls. So I'm going to be checking that out later on once the servers come online. I'll see how that affects my rig. And users are now able to configure how many CPU cores should be used in the game with a new command that you can put in the user configuration file. So no longer are we going to have to go through all that process of unparking CPU cores. If you want to tell Battlefield 4 to use all 4 or 8 of your cores, then you can go ahead and do that. On top of that, they've given the DMRs some huge buffs. It says here that they've increased the damage of all DMRs across all ranges. Specifically, damage has been increased at long ranges to allow 3-hit kills against unarmed opponents. Additionally, reduce the penalty to accuracy for sustained DMR fire, allowing more rapid fire follow-up shots in combat. This is such a great change. Previously to this, it would take you 4 shots to kill somebody with a DMR, which is one of the huge issues that made them so underpowered. And the other thing they changed here as well, allowing more follow-up shots with greater accuracy in quick succession, is definitely a buff that was required. I know Level Cap's made a video on this. Lots of people have been talking about the DMRs, and I can tell you that I use them in the beta. I haven't even picked up a DMR in the actual game because they're just so terrible. I mean, what is the point, seriously? So I'm so glad that they've actually buffed them. And they say here also that they're going to continue to monitor the effectiveness of DMRs in combat and determine if additional action is needed to make DMRs a viable mid to long range weapon. So they really want the weapons to be used. I mean, I'm sure they realize at the moment that nobody is using DMRs. I mean, there are a few people, but most people realize that they're some of the most underpowered weapons at the moment. Something else that I have finally added to the game that people have been wanting for so long over on the PC side is gameplay code to properly track the field of view changes in the options menu. Now, I haven't logged into a multiplayer game, as I say, but I already saw this on the forums. I went on single player, and there is indeed an option there to turn this on or off. Previously, people wouldn't be able to set their field of view too high, because what essentially happened is when you aim down sight, instead of your view zooming in to allow you to easily aim at the target, it would just stay the same field of view that you had around you. So now things are going to scale properly, and even if you increase your field of view, presumably when you ADS, you're still actually going to zoom in to properly reflect that new field of view. So that's awesome. No longer am I going to have to stay with my field of view at 80. I know some people play at 70. I'm probably going to crank that up to 90 at least. There are also a number of other bug fixes, so I'll link that blog post down below so you guys can have a read through that yourselves. I'm sure some of you will have been suffering from some of these bugs at some point or another. Now, on top of that, they've also gone and brought out 2 new blog posts, so I have my work cut out for me. Alright, first up, they're talking about upcoming Battlefield 4 weapon tweaks, and first off here they covered the DMRs. We already talked about that, and it looks like that has actually been implemented in the current patch that's out now. In an upcoming patch, they're also going to give some buffs to the pump action shotguns, which I feel is another great tweak here to the game. Currently, there aren't that many short-range confrontations, you know, compared to Battlefield 3. Battlefield 4's maps don't really lend themselves that well to close quarters combat too much, so the shotguns haven't been too popular. But it says here that they've increased the accuracy of pump action shotguns while on the move and aiming. The accuracy has been approximately doubled. These weapons did not have any available barrels or grips that would allow a player to enhance their aimed accuracy. So some nice buffs there to the pump action shotguns. Accuracy doubled while aiming and on the move. That is a pretty huge buff there. Another thing they're looking at doing is adjusting the way inaccuracy is handled when transitioning from hip fire to aimed fire. Now, as a lot of you will know, if you would be firing and you would sort of start to zoom in and fire, but before you were completely ADS'd, you would keep the accuracy of your hip fire. So you actually had to ADS, wait like around half a second until the accuracy had actually changed for you, and then you could begin firing. If you started firing too early, you would simply keep the accuracy that you have in hip fire even though you would be ADS'd. Apparently it looks like they're going to address that issue and make it so your accuracy will actually change a little bit better. It will just be more intuitive, so you can sort of start firing and then ADS, and your accuracy will actually change in mid-fire. The heavy barrel has also received a buff here, which I think is great. Heavy barrel was like the attachment of choice back in BF3. In BF4, not so much, you know, people haven't really been handling the recoil that it gives you for the increased long range accuracy. So it says here, the heavy barrel's accuracy bonus now also applies on the move at a reduced bonus. This should give the heavy barrel a wider role for players who desire accuracy while aimed in all situations. So that's a great little buff there. I'm definitely looking forward to trying out the heavy barrel here. I haven't really seen anybody using it as of late, and I'm especially thinking that heavy barrel coupled with DMRs may be quite powerful now. They've also synchronized the timing of the aim down sights animation of sniper rifles with their ability to fire with full accuracy. So for any of you snipers out there, I'm sure you're going to know if you've played COD and then you've played Battlefield. In COD, the difference is that you can essentially start zooming in, and as soon as you start that zoom in animation, your accuracy will change to aiming down sight, and that's where quick scoping comes in. In Battlefield 4 and in Battlefield 3, until you were fully zoomed in with the sniper rifle, that accuracy wouldn't have happened. So just like with the ADSing on assault rifles or any of the full auto weapons, with the sniper rifles, if you didn't get fully ADS'd first, you actually would still have your hipfire accuracy. It seems that they changed that now, synchronized the timings a little bit better, although they do state that there is still a delay to achieve full accuracy, so quick scoping is still not possible. Now, if that wasn't enough, there's also a second blog post entitled Balancing Battlefield 4 Upcoming Pistol Tweaks. Now, I'm not going to go over all of these because this video has probably gone on for quite long enough, but I will link the blog post, as always, down below in the description. However, one thing I would like to highlight is that they reduced the delay between pressing the trigger and the bullet firing for the M412 Rex and the 44 Magnum. So previously, they wanted to keep this true to real life. If you don't know how these weapons work, when you actually pull the trigger, a hammer on the back of the gun has to pull back and hammer onto the bullet before it will actually fire. So there's a slight delay between when you pull the trigger and when the weapon actually fires. And they wanted to replicate that within game, but it was a little bit too much of a delay. It just didn't really lend itself well to the gameplay mechanics. It didn't feel fun to use the weapon, fluid enough, and it was just really hard to hit people on the move with those weapons. So now they've reduced that delay a little bit, and I'm looking forward to trying those weapons out. Whew, well, that was quite a lot to get over with, guys. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed this information. I know I've been doing quite a lot of news, but what can I say, man? DICE have just been throwing news my way, right? I mean, I feel it's my duty to cover that and to report it to you guys because it is something that interests me. I really want them to fix the game and make it better, and I feel that this patch and these tweaks that they're making is definitely a step in the right direction. So, as always, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave me a rating down below. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.